Hello everyone, today we have new video review, and as you can see, this time we are going to check fresh release from Miniart. And this is a model in 1/35 scale, and it copies T-55A Czechoslovak production. So as you can see, we have quite interesting markings straight on the box art. And this is a commercial sample, so it means you will get exactly the same stuff as what you will see in this video review. So we are going to open it together and see what is actually included here. So first of all, this is not an interior kit. You can see that there is no sign of it on the box art. So basically we get only external features. There is no interior included into this kit, and it means maybe faster assembly and less parts count in the box. But the box size and weight is still impressive. Here you can see comparison with my hand. We have really nice box art. Then here on the side we have some safety devices, address of the manufacturer, QR code, barcode. And on the opposite side we would have the marking options which are included here. So you can notice that we have I would say pretty much standard green markings, but the writings is what will make difference on your model. So this is a top opening box. Just give me a second to open it. It's a bit tight fitment. Okay, come on. I will do it off the camera because somehow it doesn't just lift up properly. So here it is. And you can notice that, package is really tight even without interior parts. We have everything sealed into one plastic bag, so we will open it and check what is actually supplied here. And in the meantime, let me remind you that we are trying to gather now money for the new lenses, which will help us to zoom even closer on the parts, and it will also bring the sharper image. So if you want to help us, you can press the donate button on our website, or you can join our YouTube membership with the join button somewhere here. So it will give you some special benefits, which are really cool in my opinion, because one of them gives you a free kit every month, and you get the chance to choose which one you will get this or that month. So if you would like to help us, consider this please, because it will improve our video reviews and we will be able to check more. Okay, so now I'm removing this plastic part, so there will be a bit of noise. Okay. And what's funny about the Miniart kits is that we get plastic bag in a plastic bag. So basically these sprues were packed into another plastic bag inside the plastic bag. So small inception. And now we will start with this plastic bag here. So as you can see, there are clear parts and also decals sheet. So I'm going to cut through it. Amount of sprues is really impressive here, so I guess still you should be ready to work with a lot of parts. For example, here we start with clear elements. Let's zoom in, and now you should be able to see that here we have clear parts for the tank. These ones will be used for the turret, but we have more. So if I will place this sprue aside and place one more here, and now we can zoom out a bit. Now you should be able to see that we have two clear sprues, which will bring some transparent elements on the tank, and that's really cool because it's not just let's say gray plastic with a silver color, and we have proper clear parts even though there are no masks included. And here we have decals sheet, so all necessary symbols are included here, and of course some of them can be copied with airbrush. It will be up to you which way you will choose, but I mean it is possible. Next we continue with a small envelope with Miniart logo. So usually Miniart packs P threads into such envelopes, and this one is not an exclusion from this rule. So here we have unpainted P thread with all necessary parts for external features, and I can tell you that these parts make the difference. I mean, I am still working on my T-55 project, but I think in 1 week you will be able to see what can be made with this plastic. It's really impressive, and as a standard out of the box bonus, it's really cool to have such thing included. Next we go on with first gray plastic sprue. So here we have, let's zoom out. Here we have a lower part of the main hull. Here it is. As you can see, all hatches are molded separately, which is also quite a nice feature, even though I really doubt that you will use it on your model. Still, it is good to see such attention to small features. Next we go on with front mudguards, and here we have some internal parts, but no worries, they won't be used. It's just they were included for interior kits before, so that's why they're not removed here. Next we continue with another large plastic sprue. So here we have more of the lower hull sections. You can see them here. And again we have tarp here. So as you can see, it's more of a mix of different parts, because we have hull panels, we have various minor elements here, we have even tarpaulin, and we have internal wall, which will be installed for sure in order to bring some rigidness to the whole structure. So again, I'm reminding you that model does not have the interior, but still there are some interior parts left which are necessary in order to get the stiff construction. Here we continue with another plastic sprue. Here you can see the glacis plate, which is molded as a one-piece part, and it's quite thick. I guess it was done intentionally in order to copy the thickness of the armor on the actual tank. Here we have the top hull cover, and you can notice again we have hatch molded separately, which is a really handy feature if you plan to place some figures. Again, another internal wall. Here we have the rear compartment cover, again with separate hatches, and here we have some parts for the turret. So be careful with that thin ring, because it will require careful assembly and separation in order not to break it. It's really thin, so it's tricky thing in this kit. Next we have more of the various panels. As you can see, we have another type of the rear cover. And also here we have various separate hatches, they're molded separately. And what's really cool is that they're detailed inside as well. So if you plan to open them, it won't be just a plain plastic piece on your model. Next we continue with this plastic sprue. So this one is dedicated to storage boxes. As you can see, they should be assembled out of several panels, and they feature really nice details, pre-molded. So I think you will get a really nice result once you paint them and do some weathering, apply some weathering on them. Okay. Next, what do we have here? So these parts, again, we have a mix of various parts. So here you can see, for example, the turret section, and also we have spare tracks. We also have some storage boxes here. So again, I would say it's just a variety of different parts which will be applied here and there. What's really cool in this kit is that we get the one-piece main gun barrel. So it means you won't have to spare your money for the additional metal part. You get the proper part out of the box. It's not assembled out of two hulls. So that's really cool. I mean, that's the usage of the modern technologies, as I said in the previous reviews, for example with Tamiya models. Because it's strange to see in 2020 the main barrels which are assembled out of two hulls. Next we go on with fuel tanks. As you can see, they come on 3 sprues. Each one should be assembled out of 2 halves, and here inside you can notice that there are some guiding elements which will help you with proper position of these parts. Okay. Next, here we have quite interesting frame, because as you can see we have large empty space in the middle, but here we also have some parts for the turret, and everything looks cool. I mean, you can see the welding seams here on the turret panel, if camera will focus. Yeah, now you should be able to see that this surface is carefully replicated in plastic. These welding seams, they look really nice, so I hope you will be able to use it to your own benefit in order to get even more realistic looking model. Next we continue with another grey plastic sprue. So here we get various minor elements for the tank, and here you can check them from the opposite side. So here we have suspension parts. They are provided on 4 frames, here you can see it, and as you can see these are suspension arms, so you will be able to place road wheels on this. And if I flip it over, here inside we have guiding elements so that it will be easier to align them together. Okay. Next we have pair of sprues which will be used for the lower hull section. As you can see, they will be placed right in the front of the suspension, and here you can check these parts from the opposite side. Okay, what's next? Next we have this sprues again with some minor elements for this and that. And these are really tiny parts, so be careful with them. It's really easy to lose them, and then, I mean, you will have some difficulties fixing all this stuff. We also have separate tiny sprue for the machine gun ammo magazine, so as you can see it should be assembled out of several parts. Okay. Next we continue with one more set of sprues. So here you can see another type of fuel tank, Pioneer tools such as shoal, and also some panels for the engine bay cover. So these are actually separate slats which should be inserted one by one on the cover panel. That would be quite a process, and it is a bit tedious, but the final result will be a nice looking engine mesh. So don't be lazy, do work on these parts and you will have a nice result. Next I'm trying to understand what other sprues we have here. So for example, here we have pair of sprues which carry these special holders or brackets for fuel tanks or fuel drums on the rear section. Okay, here is one more, by the way, so it was lost inside the box, and there is one more here. So that's the point about this separate sprues. As you can see, you don't get them all at once, so you keep finding the same type again and again, and I mean it's also easy to lose them. For example, here I finally found another set of sprues with suspension arms. So keep track of all these items, because once you lose them it will be really difficult to get something as a spare element. And next we have 3 sprues with parts for the lower hull section. So as you can see, this will go into the chassis or suspension section. And we have a lot of thin parts which might be replaced with metal wire, so it will be up to you whether you would like to do such operation or not. But this thin parts, they're quite tricky in separation, so keep it in mind. And do not use plastic cutters with them, because you will just damage them and it would be beyond repair. Then you would have to use the metal wire. Here we continue with another set of double sprues. So we get drive sprockets, we have idlers, and we have some suspension arms here. Everything looks cool. We have guiding elements for these halves, parts which are separated into 2 halves. So really like what they did here. Next we go on with pair of sprues with fuel drums. So here they are. Each fuel drum should be assembled out of several parts. You can notice it. I would say it's pretty much standard or classic parts design for this element. So there is nothing new in that. And it should be easy to work, of course. And next we continue with set of sprues. So here we have turret parts, and we can zoom out. So you can notice that here we have the top turret cover. We also have some separate panels. And what I would like to show, let's check the custom surface on the turret cover. So here we zoom in and you can see it is quite smooth, but still there is some sign of the surface imitation, which is really cool because it will be visible on the finished model. You can also see the special spots for the lifting hooks. Also we have to attach a lot of PE parts here, so be ready for that. It won't be just a plain plastic sub-assembly, so there will be some PE parts employed. And I saw some modders surprised at that, because they were expecting just some, let's say, simple process, but then they get to install a lot of tiny PE parts. Here we go on with 2 small sprues for the glacis plate, because we have a lot of minor elements which will be attached on the front of this tank. And the last gray plastic sprue in this bag is dedicated to a lot of small parts, so if we zoom out you will see what I'm talking about. A lot of thin parts, some parts are really tender. Here for example you can see the exhaust cover, which features thin wax from the cover, so again be sure not to break it, because then it will be a really tricky thing to fix it. And next, that's not all, because we also have this plastic bag, and here we have some suspension parts. It means rolled wheels, torsion bars, and there should be tracks. So just give me a second to open it. I'm cutting through the plastic bag, and then we will check everything closer. Okay, so first of all I would like to take a look at the rolled wheels. They come as a one piece here, but just like in the previous T-55 kits from Miniart, we get some flash around here, so you have to cut it out with sharp knife. Obviously it shouldn't stay there, but we have some guiding elements inside. And as for the painting purposes, you should be careful. We do not get any masks included, so if you would like to get a proper paint finish, you have to find your own, let's say, circular templates, or maybe just use the sharp brush in order to paint this rubber section of the wheel. Next we have the spare tracks. Actually they are not spare, they're actual tracks, so just give me a second to take it out. I really hope that New Year will bring us a different type of the Miniart packaging, because this is not something what we would like to see for armor kit. It's really tricky, it's a lot of plastic sprues, and I mean it's really easy to get lost with some parts, so that's why I'm wishing to see a bit more I would say well thought packaging. So here we have track links, and we get the separate track links for the tracks here on the tank, which is a really cool feature in 1/35 scale, because obviously it is better looking part than vinyl counterpart. So the only thing is that the assembly process will be tedious, because there is no template for the assembly. You have to do everything by your own, and I went through it. It's not such a quick process, let's say. Next we continue with assembly manual. So here it is. I have to close the camera a bit so that you won't be blinded by the white color. We have short list of the features here, so let's open it, and straight away we go on with first two marking options. Next we continue with parts map, also some signs which might be handy for diorama projects. Note that they do not mark the unused parts on the parts map, so keep track of this, because there are a lot of identical parts and you might use the wrong one. Then we start assembly process with the lower hull section, and there is a choice between torsion bars and normal suspension arms, so it's up to you. Of course, torsion bars give you the movable suspension parts. Here we continue with the sidewalls. They get attached to the lower hull section together with the rear. Then we start working on the top panels. And by the way, here you can see what I was talking about, so you have to apply all these slats on the special hull cover. Next we continue with P parts here, which are applied directly on that slats intersection. Then we have some assembly options for the engine bay, so you can open or close these small flaps in the rear area. The same goes about the main flaps. And next we continue with front mudguards. Note that there are some P parts employed as well, so that's really funny thing to do, and you have to bend them. But there are special, let's say, cutouts or thinned areas which will help you to get the right angle. Next we continue with various storage boxes and spare tracks which will be placed on the shelves, side shelves. Here we have fuel lines for the fuel tanks, so you don't have to scratch build it. It is included out of the box, and that's really impressive. But these parts are really thin, so be sure to have some tweezers to work with them. It's really easy to break them. I have experience with that, so I can tell you that you should use some special tools. Do not do this with bare fingers. Next we continue with towing cables. You can notice that you have to source your own metal wire. And here we install road wheels, assemble tracks, each track link should contain 90 tracks as far as I remember. Here we have the turret assembly. So even though we have the internal part of the main gun, it is used just to balance the main barrel, and that's pretty much all. There is no other interior detailing in this kit. Next we continue with some assembly options for your build, so it will be up to you which one you will choose. Be sure to use some reference photos because it will be also important because it's visible on the finished model. Next, here we have the machine gun assembly. So it's also quite, I would say it's kit on its own, because as you can see a lot of parts should be combined together. So I would recommend to spend some time painting and weathering it. Here we install some additional items on the turret. Next we continue with the turret installation on the main hull. Here we install this special cover for the front section from what I remember. And there are two options, whether you build it in the stowed position or in deployed, and that's pretty much all. So 75 steps for the assembly. Here we have two more marking options, and on the last page you can see some other kits from the same series, so we reviewed them as well. You can find it easily on our YouTube channel. And these are also quite nice kits in 1/35 scale. So as for today's tank, it should be already available. You can get it on official ModeliMax webshop. Of course, I will be happy to hear your opinion about such a release. Write it here in the comment section below. If you like this video, don't forget to press the like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye!